Hey there, Steve Rubis with another installment of Capital Markets Investor Relations in 2 minutes or less. Today we're going to talk about a data center REIT non-deal roadshow and Cerner. And this is the key premise. If you're an executive, you need to remember that you never truly know what an investor wants when they take a meeting with you. And you're always going to get two types of questions. You're going to get the question that is asked and a question that is implied by that asked question. And what you have to remember is that the investor who asks the question always has an answer in mind. Do you have an answer, and do you feel comfortable answering both the asked question and implied question? So let's get into this idea of what is a non-deal roadshow. Well, this is where a management team travels to Boston, New York, San Francisco, Chicago to meet with investors in their offices. And it's usually a day of investor meetings. And so what is an investor meeting? That's where the CEO, CFO, and maybe other members of the exec team go to meet with a portfolio manager or an analyst in his or her office and get asked a bunch of questions. And those portfolio managers and analysts are trying to determine, should we take a position? Should we buy more? Should we stay put? Or should we sell the position outright? And an executive has to remember that there's information exchange going on at all times. And there's three types of information exchange you need to be aware of. It's information about your company, about competitors, and about the industry. The more thoughtful and nuanced discussion you can give to investors, the more credibility you're going to get, the more likely the investor is going to invest with you, and the more likely the investor is going to want to meet with you regularly, which makes for a better and better relationship. So let's get into a real life example. So when I was working at data center REITs, we were doing an NDR in Chicago. And one of the meetings seemed like it was not going to be about data center REITs. And there were two things that tipped me off. The first was it was a generalist hedge fund that I knew from the sell side that was more focused on technology and digital healthcare. And then during the meeting, it came out that the salesman in the meeting was the healthcare IT specialist. And he steered the meeting towards Cerner. And so we spent a good portion of the meeting actually talking about Cerner and through the lens of data centers. But what was interesting about this meeting is that shortly thereafter, the analyst of that bank downgraded Cerner in the 70s, and it went to 48.50. And so this is where you never know what information that investor is looking for that's going to make that meeting extremely valuable to them. Always be thoughtful, always be prepared for the three types of information exchange, and being able to discuss your competitors in the industry in a thoughtful and nuanced way, and you'll get the investors that you want. Thanks for watching. Always here to help with your capital markets, investor relations, and corporate finance needs.